So you've received money from a customer and it doesn't pay off an invoice cleanly, and you need to add it to their ledger or to their account. Now, you can actually do this automatically, and I'll show you. So if you go into Accounts and Settings, and then you go down to Advanced, you can actually choose the option Automatically Apply Credits. So if we click on that one and click Automatically Apply Credits and save that, what that will do, and click Done, what that will do is when a payment comes in from a customer, it will just pay off the first unpaid invoice available that's next in line. But you may want to keep the credit separate because you may not necessarily want to allocate it to the very next invoice in the queue. If that's the case, then there are other ways that you can do it. And I'm going to show you 4 of them. There are so many ways to do this in QuickBooks, it's unreal. But these are the ones that you will come across most readily. So if we go to a customer, and we've got cookies here by Kathy. Now she currently owes one invoice of £75, but she paid us an invoice of she paid us an amount of money, beg your pardon, of £50, and we want to keep it separate. It may be that that £50 actually doesn't relate to this invoice, or it's a deposit paid on an invoice that's coming later, whatever your reason, but you want it to show separately in the ledger. So the first way is you can come here to the customer's actual screen and go over to the new transaction and actually choose payment. And we are going to say, we can leave the payment date the same. Can put a reference POA, what a payment on account if you wanted to. We're depositing it to undeposited funds, and we're not paying this invoice off at all. We just want to put £50 was received. Okay. And that's it for that one. Unclear that because it'll automatically try and allocate it to it. And you'll see down here, when I've unticked that, you'll see this transaction will create an additional credit in the amount of £50. Sometimes people do this and not realize it and do it into the bank account, and they create duplicate transactions, which is not what they wanted. But in this case, we do want to create another transaction, and that's it for that. And we just save and close it. Okay. So there's that one. The other way to do it is we can actually go into the invoice itself or click on Receive Payment. I'm going to click on the Receive Payment. And then here you can see that again, it tries to automatically apply it to an invoice. So here we've got the invoice for £75 and the applied amount is £50. Okay. The next way to do it is actually to go into the transaction itself. So you can either click Receive Payment because you can see the option is there for you because it's an unpaid invoice, or you can just click into the invoice itself. It's actually the same, and actually click Receive Payment here. And then you'll see again the same thing. The invoice appears. We don't want to pay off the invoice. We put in the amount and we go for exactly the same exercise. It tells you it will create an additional amount of £50, and we say yes, we're happy with that. So I'm not going to save that one because I don't want to keep that one for now. Leave without saving. The other way is to come up here in your Add Transactions and click Receive Payment. The only difference with this one is you have to tell it who you're actually going to pay, because you're coming from in the generic transaction screen, not the customer screen. Bring up cookies by Kathy, again exactly the same. This time again, well, it's not this time again, put in your £50, untick that and you get the message. Yeah, so that's that way. Let's get rid of that, click without saving. The other way, which you'll come across quite often as well, it's a little bit more tricky, is if a transaction appears in the bank account, you're doing it from a downloaded transaction. So let's find one that we don't have anything for, so I can do it from scratch. So let's say we had some money coming in from, okay, we'll just use this one, undefined. So we're going to go to add, because what QuickBooks says it is not what we agree with. So this one again, that came in from good old Cookie. And we're just going to add this straight into the nominal account so that it appears on her ledger. Now, You need to know what that account is. More than likely, it'll be one of two accounts. It'll either be your accounts receivable, because that is your customer account or your customer control account, where any monies to do with invoicing and credits all go in and out. And now QuickBooks will do this automatically, but we're adding something into it so that we can keep the balances of our customer accounts correct. You may find that yours is actually creditors, especially in the, oh, we don't want that, especially in the UK version. At least won't come up in here because it isn't for us. So either look for accounts receivable or creditors, and that's the account you want. So let's put that back in there, accounts receivable, and that's that for now. And we add that. Oh, this wants me to put a class in, naughty naughty. So we'll put, what's an available class? Put bar, add that. And then when we go back to cookie, let's just refresh that screen. Come cookie. And we now see that there's a deposit for that amount in there that's been attributed to her. So it's changed the amount due. Okay. Okay, so let's just say we've got payments on account. We now do want to allocate them to an invoice. Here's how we do it. So firstly, we look at a part application or part allocation. So we can actually either go into the payment, but let's go into the invoice itself and say receive payment and just look at the two different effects of the amounts. Now, if we decide, if you note here, QuickBooks has already recognized the first one. So when it does the automatic allocation, when you clicked it in your settings, this is what it would automatically do, and you wouldn't see this screen. It would just do it for you automatically. But here it's showing us, so it's decided that £75 will be paid off at £75, and it matches. And there's no amount received, there's no extra money to account for. And if we come down here, we'll see the amount to apply, £75, and there's no extra, nothing else to deal with. And if you are happy with that, that would be sorted, and you would just save and close it. But we may decide that actually this £75 payment actually doesn't apply to this particular invoice. It's actually this £50 that does. So instead, what you would do is you would choose this one, and up here you would choose the payment to be £50, and you would just pay that off. There still would be no monies appearing in the bank. If money comes up here, it creates an extra amount in whatever bank account that you are depositing to. So again, we could just do that. The third application could be that we actually apply this credit, but the customer has actually paid £25 in reality. So we're actually paying off the whole invoice. We may have received a check, or we know it's coming into the bank account. You could actually do this from the bank screen itself in another way, but we're just going to do it for now so that I can show you how it actually affects the invoice in the different scenarios. So we're going to pay off the £75 in full. We're going to apply the £50 we've already received, which means that £25 is still to be paid, and we've now received that. So if you come down here, you see the amount to apply is £75. Just double check our dates. It's the 10th here in undeposited funds. If we save and close that, okay, it now shows that this invoice is paid, this is closed off, and we've now closed off. So this is still sitting there, needs to be used up. So if I were to go to my chart of accounts and look in my undeposited funds account and view the register, it should show me that we've received 25 here, cookies by Kathy. So that's gone in there, and obviously we can transfer it into the main bank account at our leisure. And that is pretty much how you deal with customer payments on accounts and apply them later on to an invoice. Hope that was useful to you. Bye bye.